All right, it is 8:05. Erin, I think you're our only participant this morning, which is totally fine. I'm so happy that you're here. I do not want to put you on the spot at all today, so feel free to follow along, do whatever you need to do too. And since this session's being recorded, I'll probably just, let people who are watching the recording know what they can do and when they can pause, if that sounds okay.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Of course. I'm glad you're here. Thank you. So welcome to Talk to Me. This session is all about family communication. Just a quick reminder that to download that Performance Matters app now to register for today's session to ensure that you receive credit. At the end of the session, you're going to see a little QR code, and you'll be able to scan that and get credit for today. So I appreciate you being here. For those who are joining the recording, welcome. I will let everyone who is watching the recording know when they can pause and explore some resources. So again, today's session is called Talk to Me, all about family communication. My name is Anna, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. I am a digital learning specialist with Brunswick County Schools here on the North Carolina coast. I'm a licensed reading specialist, 9-12 English teacher, and K-6 general ed teacher, and I'm also a licensed K-12 ESL teacher. I love notes and all things organization, so you guys are going to get some organizational resources today before you leave. I love to read. That's my favorite hobby. And I have taught kindergarten, a K-5 stream elective, and a 5th grade social studies class. So today, we were planning on using Mentimeter a lot throughout today's session. Erin, since it's just you joining in, feel free, if you have access to the presentation, to click on the Mentimeter, and then hopefully people with who access the recording will kind of add their thoughts and opinions to the Mentimeter throughout the session. You can access it by simply clicking on the Mentimeter logo on this slide or on the QR code. Did you have any problem accessing the slides, Erin? See. So if I click on the Mentimeter here, you can see that you can vote.
I can, I'm going to go back to the top of the presentation just to double check if I can get into the presentation.
No, you are totally fine. And I can send the link again in the chat.
Okay. Can you send the link in the chat?
Of course. Let me send it one more time.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Feel free to just copy and paste that, and that should work in your browser. Let me know if it gives you any problems. Okay, perfect. I saw that it worked, and so we have our results right here, the would you rather. I see, Erin, that you'd rather spend the day in your favorite fictional place, which is really cool. I think that would be my choice too. Hopefully people in the recording will get to add some of their thoughts and opinions as well. But let's keep going. So that's essentially how all the Mentimeters are going to work today. They'll be linked within the slide itself. So our agenda, we're going to go over the basics, so the what and why of family communication. We'll talk about communication types and resources, then go into specific communication tools and resources, and then I'll leave you today with a quick check guide just to help you kind of organize and implement strong family communication practices in your learning environment. Today's session, since we don't have that many participants, is probably going to be a little shorter than normal, but for those doing the recording, I'll let them know when they can pause and work on a couple of the organizational handouts that we have, and you'll be able to do that today too, Erin. So today's learning target, I can identify and use available resources to communicate effectively with my diverse classroom families. So we're going to start with the basics of family communication. Now, I think family communication has really been redefined over this past year, as you know, there's been differing and fluctuating classroom practices across the state, across the country, across the world. So let's kind of just start with what strong family communication is in the classroom. Strong family communication is a regular occurrence of communication through a predictable platform that answers the following questions. So families want to know the following things about their student and their experiences in the classroom. So first, what's going on? Like, what are you guys doing? How's my kid? Every parent wants to know, how their kid's doing. Parents and guardians just want a general check-in. And then how can I support? Providing that extra information on, if they're interested, how they can support their student and the classroom itself. So strong teacher-family communication means stronger teacher-student relationships, expanded parental involvement, and increased student motivation. There have been many research studies that have shown very similar results in the sense that when you see examples of strong teacher-family communication, the relationships, the involvement, and the motivation automatically increase. And I think a lot of us in our classroom experiences can attest to that too. So what does effective communication look and sound like when talking about classroom family practices? Well, it looks like regular, predictable sharing. We want to ensure that our families know when they're going to get information and how they're going to get information, and that doesn't change wildly every time. Assistive technologies, meaning whether that is high contrast images for those who are visually impaired, different assistive technologies like closed captions and subtitles, just assisting people who speak different languages or who have specialized needs. Translation being available is important, which is where those subtitles come into play as opposed to closed captions, which are considered an assistive technology. And a balance of visual aids and text, just to ensure that we're meeting the needs of all family members across their various literacy practices and skills. It sounds like inclusive language, so ensuring that we're maybe addressing families versus just using the term parents, because as we all know, family dynamics differ for all of our students. Some of our students live with foster parents. Some of our students live with their grandparents, aunts and uncles. Some of them maybe are under the care of older siblings. And sometimes even if they are in a family that is a single or two-parent household, sometimes the older siblings will help facilitate some of the schoolwork. So using that inclusive term can really involve the whole family into what's going on in the classroom. Translanguaging can also be important. So when we talk about translanguaging, that's allowing people to communicate in both English, if that's the dominant language in your classroom, and their native language. So maybe switching back and forth between languages, maybe even you as an educator providing different language greetings to your students or through student families using native languages that you know are present in the classroom. And translanguaging has a ton of benefits. So not only if you are using some of the basic language terminology from the dominant languages spoken across your classroom spectrum, do they feel maybe more included and more welcome? But we also see different families wanting to, who don't speak that language, wanting to really involve themselves in the classroom community and learn more about those they're in a community with. Also, minimal background noise is important. So essentially, if you're communicating with families through any audio, including video or podcasts, any recording type, just ensuring that minimal background noise is there to meet the needs of all the family listeners. What do we need to consider when communicating? So I kind of broke this down into three main aspects of consideration. So first, language needs. So this is usually what people find through the home language survey that's sent home to students' families every year. So keep in mind the primary language that your student and their family speak at home. And then also keep in mind the proficiency in differing literacy skills. So people, literacy skills are on a spectrum. So some people may not be as proficient with text-based or heavy text communication, but if there are visuals or auditory communication, they're more comfortable comprehending that information. Then think about assistive technology needs, so like closed captioning, large print, immersive reader. Immersive reader is essentially a function that you would find in platforms like Pear Deck and even Discovery Education, where they'll, Class Dojo even, where they'll read aloud the information that's being provided to your families. Then we also have visual aids. So maybe providing a visual checklist with images of different things a student might need to bring to school the next day. And then think about design and visual impairments. So really high contrast, meaning like dark text on a light background or light text on a dark background to ensure that people can easily see what you have there. And also providing texts that aren't too difficult to read, meaning that a majority of your information probably should be in a singular text font, a singular font. But if you are going to use any fonts that differ, ensuring that the population that you are adhering or delivering information to is able to read that. So, for example, some of the cursive fonts that I have presented in this slide or the slide deck are singular cursive fonts. They are consistent, but they're also easy to read and not too difficult for those who are familiar with cursive to look over. And my entire population is proficient in cursive reading. Then think about equity and access. So internet, do they have access to internet? Does your district offer hotspot applications for families to reach hotspots to use district one-to-one devices that they're shared with them at home? And then the devices they have access to. Does your district have a one-to-one device initiative? Are you able to ensure students have access to devices at home as well as families have access to devices? Keep in mind too, maybe some families have access to mobile devices that allow for texting, but maybe they can't access the internet on their device. So it's just a lot of things to keep in mind, and that's why that chart is there. Just things to consider when communicating. So how would you rate your current family communication practices? So this was, again, a very unique year with a multitude of learning opportunities. How do you feel about the communication procedures you're going to use in the next academic year? So go ahead and click on, if you would like, the Mentimeter logo if you have the slides available to you. And if it is giving you a hard time to access that, let me know. And then you can click here to see the group's responses. I'm going to share this tab. If you're having a hard time accessing the link, you can always go to menti.com and use the code 7911797. But I'm also going to copy this link and put it directly in chat. And I see one question here. Yes, Erin, like the home language surveys are usually given at the initial part of the school year. And that's actually a legal requirement in the state of North Carolina, at least, to send home those home language surveys. So essentially, if you're checking out those home language surveys, those are the ones that have been sent home in beginning of the year packets for students to fill out. So definitely ask your admin if they are sending home those home language surveys, which they should. And that's how that works. So just think about for a second how you would rate your current family communication practices. So with the statement, I use very effective communication practices that meet the diverse needs of my family. Just think about if you agree with that statement. Is that something present in your classroom practices? Is that something you disagree with and want to work on? This is just more of a reflection question. We are going to keep moving. Feel free to fill that out, especially our recording listeners. Okay, we're going to keep going. So communication types and resources. There are 4 main communication types. We have verbal, which is just kind of maybe even talking to individuals, phone calls, videos that have an auditory function, even podcasts. Then you have visual. So those are like little social media graphics or pictures or even a newsletter that's sent home. Visual and written often overlap. And then you have nonverbal, which can go with visual as well. So maybe you might have a checklist of things students need to bring to school every day as a way to communicate with families, but it's just maybe a flyer with a picture of their backpack and their school folder and their lunchbox or water bottle. So there are varying communication types, but these are the 4 main ones that we see. Again, verbal, visual, nonverbal, and written. Some of that nonverbal communication can also be the body language that you utilize when sharing a video with a family, or even during that in-person communication. So commonly used communication resources. If you haven't heard of any of these, that's okay. I just pulled some of the most commonly used communication resources across some of our local districts in coastal North Carolina. So WeVideo is actually a video recording platform where you can simply edit and create, or you can record and edit and publish videos. YouTube is also a platform where people can live stream to, or essentially just publish some of their videos for wider access. I feel like YouTube's one we're all pretty familiar with. Class Dojo. Class Dojo is a communication platform that kind of serves almost like a social media site where there is a messaging service and a stream of posts that you can share with other individuals. And it kind of creates a classroom community. Then you have Seesaw. Seesaw is a learning management system that's usually tailored to younger learners, similar to Google Classroom, but is more friendly for K2 users. Then you have Remind, which is a messaging service, and Clever, which is what we call a single sign-on portal, where schools can essentially have students log into one single sign-on portal, which would be Clever, and have all of their subscriptions and logins housed in there. But that also offers a messaging service. So now that you have a little bit of background on some of these different types, which we'll go into further, I want to explain how these can be different examples of the communication practices. So verbal, creating videos, talking to our families when you're not in person. WeVideo also allows you to create podcasts, which is pretty cool. Then you have nonverbal communication. So you have WeVideo and YouTube. Maybe it doesn't have any audio components, or you simply have a way for people who have varying auditory proficiencies to listen to or to read closed captions. You also have people who have different language skills able to view translated subtitles instead of listening to the audio function. As for written, all of these posts have like text message or messaging like services where you can send a written message. Many of these platforms like Class Dojo and Remind allow for automatic translation of messages too. So you can send a message in English and it will use an auto translate at the discretion of the family member to view the post in a translated format. Then you have visual, videos with visual elements. With Class Dojo and Seesaw, you can also post like social media graphics. We'll look at some of those examples in a minute, but the social media graphics are kind of like what you would see on Instagram or Facebook. Now we're going to communication tools and resources, but I'm going to pause for just a minute to let you guys catch up with anything that you need and check the chat to see if there's any questions or concerns. Okay. Looks like we're doing okay in the chat. Feel free to always unmute yourself and call out if you have a question about anything too. So again, we're talking about communication tools and resources. So Class Dojo itself. Class Dojo is pretty cool because there are different posting capabilities. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share before you log in, what Class Dojo looks like in case you guys are interested in going to this website. So this is classdojo.com. You can sign up as an individual, but as you can see here, Class Dojo is an application that allows you to message directly to parents or guardians of students and their family members. Class Dojo also allows for behavior management system monitoring, group creation, and more. It also is a place where you can provide digital portfolios to students. So this is definitely something that you can explore independently to see all of their different features. And I know it's something used widely by many school districts, primarily for our elementary school users. As you can see, 95% of US schools are using Class Dojo. So it is a resource that you'll probably see in use across North Carolina and beyond. So knowing a little bit about Class Dojo, let me talk about what it has. So the posting capabilities, again, you can post class stories. So you have a class feed, almost like a class Facebook page or Instagram profile, where you can post stories specifically about the whole class that all added family members, whether they be parents or guardians, can see. Then you also have school stories where you can post to the entire school, where everyone enrolled in that school can see these school postings. They have direct messaging with parents and student portfolio options where students can add their own materials to their own portfolio, which can be strong for conference purposes or for families to feel like they're readily involved in their students' learning process no matter when they can check in. Assistive technologies, you can add voice notes to messages. This is something that is popping up in a lot of applications where you can essentially just record a voice note, similar to what you can do in most text messaging services, and send it to a parent or guardian. There's also written language inclusion. So Class Dojo will automatically allow you to translate any written languages or any written postings to over 35 languages. So it's definitely something cool to check out. Seesaw. So Seesaw is really cool. It's kind of similar in the sense to Class Dojo that you can communicate with others, but it's more of a learning management system similar to what you would see with Canvas or Google Classroom, but it's tailored more towards younger learners. So I am a Seesaw ambassador, so feel free to ask me any questions or concerns about Seesaw, but I wanted to show you the main Seesaw page, where if you're interested in going to web.seesaw.me, you can check out what Seesaw is all about. You can sign up for free, but this is a paid service for all the premium features. But essentially, students can show their learning through a learning management classroom. You can collect data as a teacher, like through other learning management systems, and connect with families. The family connection resources are really similar to what you would see with Class Dojo. So you can respond directly to student information, but we're talking about family communication here, really. So if we view our communication features, you will be able to see that there are many ways within Seesaw, especially for our younger K2 learners, to empower families to know what's going on and communicate directly with family members, specifically with messaging, where you can do those private messages, make announcements to the whole class, and share photos, videos, links, and files. The language aspect, they can also translate to over 55 languages for any written text in Seesaw, which is exciting. So those posting capabilities, again, they have a class blog, you have announcements / messages, assignments, and then comments and feedback to students as well. That can be easier for families to review. Assistive technologies, you can add voice or video to any lesson or announcement. So if you have families who are wanting to help support their students with assignments, they can see those translated if the directions are written. They can hear your voice read it aloud or watch a video of you explaining it. They also, which is really cool, have a quick push of a button for teachers to be able to print anything out without the formatting getting weird. So what that means is if you have a specific post or you're sharing with different individuals, there's a button to the side where you can easily print that out and give it to families who maybe do not have equitable access to devices or internet. Then again, with that written language conclusion, it automatically translates to over 55 languages, which is really powerful. Something else to keep in mind, you can create social media graphics with Canva. So if you're wondering like, oh, that sounds great, I would want to create some graphics and things that look a little fancy to share with my families, but don't know how, I would check out Canva for Education. And I'm going to explain what that's about. It is linked on the screen. So if you click on the image right here, it will bring you to the Canva for Education website. Now, the reason I linked to the Canva for Education website is because I wanted to ensure that you have access to Canva for Education, which is free for teachers to sign up for, and you get all of their premium graphic design creation features out there. So Canva for Education is cool because as a teacher, you can automatically check out all these amazing templates that they have for class rule posters, to calendars, to infographics, to social media images, to headers for Google Classroom, and create them using drag and drop features or just editing the text that they have. So if you're not skilled in graphic design or graphic design makes you a little nervous, this is a great platform to get you started where you can check out all of these amazing templates, which we'll look at again in a minute. If you click on this link, you can register for free to access these resources. And as you can see, it's literally just a drag and drop platform with text boxes that work similar to PowerPoint or Google Slides, but you have access to a lot of premium materials. So I am going to click here to show you some more templates. You also have the option in Canva, this is something later on if you're not familiar with, to give access to students and allow them to create as well and monitor all their student creations, which is cool. It is integrated with many different learning management systems. Here's some more of those templates that I was talking about with Canva. Again, Canva is super cool because they have a bunch of templates that they have here where if you're looking to create a presentation or a graphic to share or a flyer, you can scroll through all of these templates. You can click on one. You can customize the template. And it will load to allow you, and this is after you have an account, I have one and I'm logged in, to be able to just edit the text directly and view all the other templates that they have that are similar. So I can click here. I'm going to replace that template to show you another one. Lots of cool things going on here. So Canva is definitely something to check out if you are ever interested in providing graphic designs to your classroom environment. Here's some examples of social media graphics I created with Canva for local schools. So sometimes I would get those translated so I'd be able to meet the needs of our diverse family populations at the school, but also keep them not too text heavy, but just give them a visual reminder of what's going on. If you have, this is also something that you could do with just images if you're wanting to summarize maybe a written text response that you have with families. So Canva is really great to be able to plug in, drag and drop to customize these social media graphics. Now let's talk a little bit about Remind. Remind is probably like the least frilly option for family communication here because it's a primary messaging platform. So this is the main remind.com website. So on remind.com, you can sign up for free to essentially send messages to family members through an app or through a text. So this is important because family members who don't have access to the internet on their phone but want to stay connected can sign up just with a text. So they can text a certain number with a code and be signed up to receive text notifications, which can be really cool because as an educator, you might just want to send a reminder home saying, hey, make sure you send that beach towel tomorrow for our podcast picnic time, and just send that directly to a parent who can get it directly to their phone and doesn't have to check anything out of the norm. So Remind is a cool platform to help you do that. And for posting capabilities, you have text directly, but you also have the app that family members and you can download. Assistive technologies, there are readability considerations. And for language inclusions, you can translate before sending the text when texting to over 70 languages. So you would need to know essentially the different language needs of your families and be able to send that translated text to them, which would be great in building relationships with families because they would know that there's an educator out there who's really conscious of their language needs. And you can also auto-translate to 6 languages in the app. So families and you can automatically translate to 6 languages in the app. And many of those languages are those commonly spoken languages for families in North Carolina, including Spanish and French. YouTube and WeVideo. So again, WeVideo is kind of just like a creation platform for creating videos. YouTube, you can record videos through YouTube, but doesn't have as many editing capabilities. So that's mostly where you would like share YouTube's or share videos you created to YouTube. So posting capabilities, both there's some video creation elements, and you can share them out with the public using a link. Automatic closed captioning is available for both resources or for both videos. You can also upload translated captions to YouTube or automatically have your subtitles translated in YouTube to a different language. Keep in mind, these auto subtitling or auto closed captioning aren't always perfect. So it's definitely something that you might want to review, but a quick, effortless way to ensure that your families know that you're conscious of their needs. Here are 2 example videos that I've created. You might not be able to hear the audio when I'm playing them, but I kind of just want to show you what that would look like. So let me know if you can't hear the audio, but oh, hey, didn't see you there. Welcome back to another week in the Stream Lab. This video I created with WeVideo during our distance learning portion. Well, welcome back. So this week and the next couple of weeks, you guys are... I also created an announcement video for a virtual STEAM night at Lincoln Elementary. Welcome to Lincoln Elementary's Virtual STEAM Night 2021. This is a quick how-to guide. Let's get started. I want to bring to your attention that all of these were posted via YouTube, and as you can see, there is a subtitles closed captioning button right here, and I'm going to show you how that works. First, get your bag. You should have received one of these. While a video is playing, you can click on this closed captions option, and you will see the captions are already automatically popping up. If I go to settings here, I can click on where it says subtitles and closed captions, and I can go to auto translate and select the language that I would need this translated into. So maybe I needed this translated into French. And as you can see in just a moment, you'll have your automatically translated subtitles there. So again, this automatically happens with any videos you share directly to YouTube. YouTube videos can also be helpful because including like podcast services, YouTube videos are one thing that families can listen to in the car or on the go easily. So they can essentially pull up a YouTube video as it's an application that many people utilize. And just by clicking on a link, listen to the video if there aren't required visual elements. So it's a good way to keep your families who are really mobile informed. So WeVideo, again, is a tool you can use to create a video or a podcast. You can easily save a template on a regular basis, and I'm going to show you what WeVideo looks like in a minute, to reuse again and again. So your video or podcast might need like a little catchy introduction that you could reuse every week, maybe have predictable elements and easy to see imagery. So maybe at the beginning of each week, you always give like a rundown of 5 things you're going to learn. Maybe that could be the same thing every week. So again, that predictable format with classroom announcements or reminders, student shout outs, and the chance to offer opportunities for family support are really important. And those can be just the same format every week to make it easier for you too. So recording could really take a minimal amount of time. Then YouTube's a great tool to share out creations because you can enable auto captions and double check them and use Google translation tools or YouTube translation tools like I just showed you. So I am really quickly going to pull up WeVideo to give you a little bit of a rundown of how WeVideo works. So when you are utilizing WeVideo, you can automatically sign up with a Google account. Now, there are some premium features that you might not have access to, but that's okay. Some of their basic free versions are great and accessible for educators. So when you log in with your Google account, you're going to be taken to a WeVideo homepage. And like I said, WeVideo is pretty exciting. It's a place where you can record and create a bunch of different things. They have templates that you can access, but also you can create new recordings, like directly record your screen, create new videos. You can even create a GIF through here or a podcast. So say I want to create a video, I simply click here to video. And I can save it under whatever project folder I'm working on and collaborate with others. I can start editing. And they have a lot of media that you can record yourself and import, so you can record yourself directly in here. You have the option to add backgrounds, to add transitions, to add audio and text. And WeVideo works as a drag and drop application. So I can simply drag and drop like an intro for text, drag and drop stock media. So I can review all the stock media that they have, as they already have videos here. Again, idea was searched for, but I can even search for something as simple as pizza. Say you're having a pizza party and you want to have a strong visual for that. I can preview a video that I like of pizza as it loads and drag and drop that here. So again, they have all the stock media that you can use, or if you click play, it'll just take a minute to load. I can say and record myself saying, hey, remember, Friday's pizza day, send in $2 or whatever you would need to do to make sure that you are keeping your parents informed. Again, for your media and WeVideo, this is a quick crash course, guys. Don't be too overwhelmed. You can import things that you've already recorded. You can narrate over videos like this. You can record a video directly. And essentially, you can save every time to ensure that you are keeping track of what you're creating, and you can also utilize a template every time that you create to make sure that you're cutting down on minimal creation time. Quick crash course on what WeVideo is, and I've already showed you how some of those YouTube capabilities work. So before we move on, I want to ask what communication platform you would like to chat more about. So go ahead and click on the Mentimeter logo if you have access to it. If you do not have access to that or it's not working, I'm going to share that link directly to you real quick via chat in just one moment. And you can just let me know what you'd like to learn more about. If you're in the recording, feel free to answer it. You don't have to, but I'm going to share this tab real quick. I'm going to copy the link for you and post that directly to chat so you can let me know. Dojo is still free for educators. If you are concerned about Class Dojo, that is a free resource for educators to use. Canva is wonderful, and I'm glad the audio function was working. Let me know through that little Menti poll, and I just sent it through chat, what you would like to learn more about, or feel free to unmute yourself and just let me know, or even if you have any other questions or concerns. Maybe you want to know how to post to YouTube, or maybe you don't have any questions, which is totally fine too. If you are joining us in the recording and would like to just share what you're interested in, feel free to go to menti.com and type in this code right here, which is 7837-6955, and we'll move on in just one moment. Woohoo! Okay, learning a little bit more about WeVideo and YouTube. Awesome. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about what WeVideo looks like and show you how you can kind of publish a video real quick and then show you how you would upload that to YouTube. And then we'll move on to some of the organizational elements we have available. Thanks. So I'm going to go back to WeVideo. I already dragged down from text like this little title sequence that I would want. So how WeVideo works, which again, this is free for some of the basic versions, is you can double click on something you drag down, and I can welcome to, and I can edit the text here. So I can say like, welcome to class, or welcome to class, and then put like the date down here. And put like just the week. So I can save those changes. So that'll be at the beginning. Say that there is a pizza party coming on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my media, and I could click to narrate. I don't think this is going to let me narrate right now because I'm already using my mic in a different program, but we'll try it. Let's see. Welcome to class this week. I am so excited because we're going to have a pizza party on Friday. So I can stop. I have my narration right here. I'm going to click save. And the great thing is your voiceover is automatically going to pop over where you decide to record. Okay? Where you decide to record. So that is there for you. Going to walk through that process again. So say I want to go to stock media and I want to remind my students that we're going to be painting and they need to wear maybe something that they aren't afraid of getting stained or dirty. So I'm going to review some of my options here for stock media. And of course, you can always record your own. Say, oh, I like that stock media image. I'm going to add this right here. Again, it's drag and drop, so it's like almost piecing together a puzzle. And I can click right here after that audio, and I can record another narration. So I'm going to go to My Media. I could always record myself too in a video by clicking record, but narrate has just how you record your voice. So I'm going to click record here. After we have our pizza party, we will be painting. Make sure you wear clothes you can paint in. And I'm going to click stop. You can preview and listen to your recording, but as soon as you click save, it is going to save directly under that image that you just talked under. So there we go. Our voiceovers are there. So let's preview our whole video here. It says welcome to class. And of course, this is not the exact video I would create. Welcome to class this week. I am so excited because we're going to have a pizza party on Friday. After we have our pizza party, we will be painting. Make sure you wear clothes you can paint in. As you can see with me previewing the video here, my audio lasted a little longer than my image. So WeVideo is kind of cool in the sense that you can also click on an image that you have and drag it out to make it a little longer. So that's just a little bit about how WeVideo works. So again, it's drag and drop. You can also always record yourself. You can record your screen too, so you can tell them if they need to sign up for a field trip or fill out a form, how they do that. When you're making a podcast through WeVideo, it's really similar. They just let you use this narrate button and you can record and post a link to it. When you're done, you simply click finish. You can title it. So I'm going to put class sample set. If you sign up with your Google account, the cool thing is you can also export this directly to your Google Drive, which is really cool. So you can title it, you can export just the video or even the audio only, which is helpful for that podcast too. You can just create a separate podcast where people can just listen to the audio. You can choose the video quality. You can mark it as public if you just want to share the direct WeVideo link, or just click on your drive if you want it directly to your drive. And then click export. And that will export the video. And you're going to get an email with a link to your video when you're done. And it's automatically going to go to your drive if you click drive. So that video will automatically be accessible. Then once it's done, which you don't have to keep this open, it'll email it to you. You can download it and you can go to YouTube. I'm going to bring you to YouTube and just show you how uploading a YouTube video works. So here's YouTube. I'm already logged in with my Google account. I'm going to click right here and I'm going to go to my channel. If you've never created a channel before, you'll have to go through a couple different steps. But I just want to show you some basics. So you can always, when you're in your channel, look for this little camera button with the plus sign. Remember, those plus signs usually just mean create on different platforms. So I can click one with a plus sign and I can upload a video. I can also go live, which means I can directly just start talking, but for someone with anxiety, that's always not the best option, so I like to record everything in advance. So I'm going to upload my video. And I can upload a downloaded video. So one that I downloaded directly from my drive, I can simply select the file from my downloads and upload it here. Once you upload it, it's going to go to this little uploads folder and simply process for you. You'll just be able to market different things like made for kids, and you'll be able to select your thumbnail, give a description, see your title. You'll also, like I said, be able to mark it if it's made for kids, which I always like to do that because, of course, not only are you legally obligated to inform them when the videos are made for kids, but notifications and ads aren't going to be shown on videos made for kids. So if you don't want people to see ads, like the annoying ads on YouTube videos sometimes, you can make sure that you mark it's for kids and your video won't have that, which is great to meet the family's needs. You can tag things, and then it says language and caption certification. So you select your language, it automatically will select the language of your video and let you check categories, but really you just need to worry about that for kids. And I'll show that restriction. Then under visibility, I like to make sure all my videos are unlisted, meaning unless someone has a link, they can't view them. So some people, if they're like, oh my goodness, so you're going to post my video to YouTube? I do not want to be on YouTube. You can tell them, don't worry. When you post something to YouTube, you can make it private where only you can see it, or it can be unlisted. Unlisted is my favorite setting because then again, they have to have the link to access it. They can't just search YouTube and find your video. You have to share the link directly with the family. You can also schedule videos to be launched. So if you make some videos ahead of time, you can click schedule and schedule when that video will become available, but that will be public. So again, you can mark it as unlisted, and then your link's right here to the YouTube video, and you'll be ready to share that directly with families. So again, this is a super quick crash course on how YouTube works, but that's some basic information just to give you an idea. And of course, my contact information is going to be at the end. I would love to support you through this. We can always do a meeting where we can sit and chat and try to make sure we customize this to what you need and go over that skill set. So let's keep going real quick. We're going to move into a quick check guide. So I'm going to present a couple of quick checkpoints that you can ask yourself when talking about designing communication practices for your classroom needs. So first, is your posting available to those who may speak a differing primary language? Like, is it available? Can people see it? Can people understand it? 2, is your posting available to those who may have differing literacy levels and strengths? Like, is it too text heavy? Can it be read aloud? Are there some images involved? Checkpoint 3, is your posting available to those who may need access to assistive technologies like closed captions? Is it optimized for those who are visually impaired? Checkpoint 4, is your posting available to those who may not have access to the internet or a device on which they can receive communications? Meaning, can you print it? Can you text it? Okay, so those are our 4 main points. So I've made a little quick check guide right here for you, where if you click here in the presentation, it should take you to a little image here of something that you can print out or save to your desktop or your drive to keep in mind with all of these questions. So when you're thinking about family communication, you keep in mind what you need to do to ensure that you're meeting the needs of your diverse families. Again, feel free to save this to your drive, download it, you can print it. Sometimes I even make these things and clip them to my planners, just so I have that there as a reminder. You can share it with whoever you'd like as well. You have my permission to do that. And you might think, okay, all those questions are great, but this seems a little overwhelming. How am I even going to collect this information from my families? So I made a sample Google form for you to kind of figure out how you can do that. So if you click on that link, it's going to bring you to this if you're logged into your Google account, where it's going to force a copy of a Google form, meaning it'll be your very own copy of your Google form that you can personalize. And this is a Google form that you can use. So I basically made a little graphic at the top using Canva, plug there. And it says copy of this. So you can even put your name. So my last name is Neville. So I could be like, Neville, We Are Family Classroom Communication Survey. I have a little greeting here where it says, welcome. I'm so excited to have your student and your whole family in our classroom community this year. Please take a few minutes to teach me about your family. Then a couple questions. You would need to add a question here, which I can do that right here, about like the student name or family name. But that's up to you to personalize that. That's completely up to you, how you want to collect that student, family, and data. But that's just a reminder I want to put there. But I have the basic questions you would need to ask. So what are the languages spoken in your home? What language would you prefer I use when sending home announcements? These questions differ because maybe you just want to be aware of the languages that they're speaking. You can also delete this question if you have access to the home language surveys. But sometimes the language they speak at home is not the language they want communication in. Maybe they would like all their communication in English, but speak both English and Spanish in the home. Just something to keep in mind. What's the most comfortable way for you to receive classroom news? Maybe they want it written, maybe they want something visual, maybe they want something audio. How can I support you and your family? So you can put options here. Again, you can delete any of these questions by clicking on it and doing the trash can. These are just here for you. Do you need printed resources? Yes, I do not have regular internet access. No, I have internet access. And then is there anything else I should know about your student or family? I think a question like this that's open-ended but not required is really important because, sometimes a family might let you know some of their favorite things or that maybe a family member works two jobs and is unable to regularly check communication. So something that they can listen to in the car would be helpful. These are all important questions to ask. So this is a completely customizable form, which is some of those base questions to get you started. Quick reminder, you're going to need to add something to keep track of your student data, just to figure out what family is sending this in. As you know, a lot of parents and guardians will have differing last names than students. So just keep that in mind. And you can personalize and delete any of these questions. So I have made both of those things for you to help with your family communication planning. So now let's do this. We got to find a system that works for you and your families. We have about 20 minutes left today, so I'm going to tell you how we're going to spend that time. Everything feels a little overwhelming right now. I think for everyone, even thinking about next academic year, or if you're already in the next academic year, something like family communication, you're like, this sounds great. I want to practice all of these, but this sounds like a lot of work, and I already feel like I can barely keep my head above the water. So we're going to have some time for some gentle brainstorming and questions. We have a no pressure brainstorming session coming up right now using a communication planning brainstorming guide that I've made for you. So I'm here for any questions or concerns as you explore this. So you can click here on the link in the presentation to access this planning guide, okay? So when you get this planning guide, I'm going to click share this tab instead. It's going to take you to a Jamboard. As you can see, you might not be able to access the Jamboard, but if you need to, you can click these three little dots and make a copy. So if you click these three little dots next to the share button in the upper right-hand corner, you can click make a copy, and it will be your very own Jamboard that you can use that's a planning guide. So there are different sections on this planning guide of just things to think about. So like the what. What app or platform do you want to use to communicate with families? Like, do you want to use WeVideo and create a podcast? Do you want to post videos directly to YouTube? Are you just going to create newsletters? When will you communicate? Will you send out communication at the end of the week, at the beginning of the week, every other week, once a month? Then the how. So this is the how are you going to communicate? Through a video, text-only posts, social media images, printed? Then the family needs. What do your families need? If you haven't started your school year yet, you might not know, so you can leave that blank. And then templates. I'm all about saving some time. What can you reuse every time you're creating this? Maybe you can use the same Canva template every time and just change the text. If you've never used Jamboard before, on the right or on the left-hand side of your screen, you're going to see some of the tools here. So you're going to see the ability to add a text box or sticky note. I like adding sticky notes. So I'm going to click sticky note here. I can change the color. Maybe I want to create a video. I'm going to mark that I'm going to do a video. I can double click on it to edit again. Maybe I'll say a video through YouTube. And the great thing about these sticky notes is you can drag and drop them. Around here, it says circle what you're going to do. So I can get this little pen option up here, change the color, circle what I want to do. This Jamboard's a place where you can go and really brainstorm. I created this via Jamboard because if you're in a team, like an educational team at your school, you can share this by clicking this blue share button to collaborate with others so they can add real time. So if you're planning with someone over the summer who's not in the same place as you, or even someone across the hall, or you can't plan at the same time, you can brainstorm what you want to do collectively as a team on this Jamboard. And you can also download it as a PDF when you're done or save it as an image. So you can print this out easily too if you prefer a written means of planning. So those are all options for you and just something that I created as a way for you to brainstorm. Say you hate this brainstorming guide, that's fine. Just think about some of the question elements to keep in mind what you're going to do. So, like I said, the rest of this session is going to be structured for the next 20 minutes as an exploration time. So I'm going to be here for any questions or concerns. If you are listening to the recording, this is where you can pause the recording, rewatch any parts that are important to you, take a minute to email me, send me a direct message or tweet at me on Twitter, and I can answer any questions that you have. But really, this time's dedicated for you to start thinking about communication practices that are important to you, customize the Google form, and complete the brainstorming guide. I really appreciate you being here today, Erin. Thank you so much. I'm glad you liked the planning guide, and I'm glad you liked the survey. Um, links links can be embedded into your website, so that's a great thing to think about. So if you have a classroom website, YouTube links especially, you can embed YouTube videos into your website so you can keep track of videos from week to week, and people can rewatch old videos. And most districts do allow WeVideo because it is something that most likely you would just be using on your own, but it is FERPA and COPA compliant. So you should have free access to WeVideo. Let me know if you have questions about that, especially if you're just creating the video. Your district won't really have a problem with that. Embedding links into your website, or embedding videos, into your website would be excellent. Glad the quick check worked. Glad the survey worked. And feel free to make a copy of this presentation